Alright, and welcome back to Umineko. This is part 2. And yeah, let's just get right into it. This might be a little bit of a shorter episode. I do have a cold, so I don't want to be doing this for 2 hours. So yeah. Let's continue where we left off, right before entering the mansion, I'm pretty sure. And it's going to be same as last time.
Oi! Kanon kun ya nai ka? Sashiburi ya na? Genki ka?
Uncle Hideyoshi, yeah, suddenly shouted. In the direction he was waving was a slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Goda probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting a piled up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow and took off his hat and bowed his head.
Konnichiwa.
I figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was a servant. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hirayushi's call, but he seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Goda noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us.
バトラ様、ご紹介いたします。後宮本家にお仕えしております使用人の一人です。カノンさん、お客様にご挨拶を。
はじめまして。使用人のカノンです。
Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goda, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant, you couldn't help feel inexperienced, typical of his age, okay? When Goda urged him to whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Kanon, sorry, not Conan. Kanon only cast his eyes downwards.
カノンさん、もう少し何か挨拶することはできませんか？
いえ、僕たちは家具ですから。
He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say.
カノン君は寡黙でさ、余計なおしゃべりは愛想は少し悪いけど、根はいい人なんだぜ。誤解しないで。ここに勤めて3年になるんだっけ？確かゴーダさんより1年長いんだよな、カノン君。
Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurried the lead, backed him up. Okay. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot.
そっか。よろしくな。俺はバトラ。18だけど、君はいくつだい？
He fell silent as though wondering whether or not a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead.
確か私たちの2つ下だから16だったよな。
はい、そうです。
It looked like he would have preferred not to tell us his age if given the choice. That's probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. I remember that when I was his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. I see, 16, huh? That's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have.
近いとして嬉しいぜ。気さくにバトラって呼んでくれよな。俺も君のことはカノンって呼ぶぜ。
ありがとうございます。お気持ちだけで結構です。バトラ様。
Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think that my impression of Cannon was getting worse because of his refusal. As well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at his age. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that.
カノンさん、もう少し愛想よくはできませんか?
I just want to see system. Okay, so these are, oh, that's cool. It shows all the characters. What was I looking for? Oh my god, no, not that. Jesus Christ. Okay, back. Yes.
笑顔も使用人の義務ですよ。
申し訳ありません。努力します。
ゴーダさん、カノン君もいろいろ頑張ってるんですよ。ねえ。
Oh, it looked like he was often warned about being unsociable, and apparently he hadn't improved one bit. Goda kept his business smile, but let out a small sigh of resignation escape. Oh, he let out a sigh of resignation. Okay. It looked like Kennen himself was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Just then the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance.
何をしてるんですか? ささ、早く片付けて。
Goda urged him to hurry in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of the guest. Conan wordlessly reloaded the whole wheelbarrow with the fallen objects, as if to say that he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and such, but he looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting up some sacks of fertilizer.
お嬢様、お召し物が汚れます。ここはお任せください。
With a smooth motion, Goda took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Conan, or I don't know why I keep saying Conan. Kaden was just having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer. Ooh.
安心しろよ。俺が着てるのはそんなお上品なものじゃねえぜ。それによ、俺はレストランで落ちたフォークをウェイトレスに拾わせるってやつが大嫌いなんだ。
I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course they weren't light, but for me it was a piece of cake. Ooh, humble brag. Kaden looked at me surprised. It was the face of someone who never would have expected to receive help from a guest.
バトラ様、結構です。僕がすべてやりますので。
気にすんな。こう見えても鍛え方が違うぜ。
Since Kanen looked like he hadn't yet gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sort of weak body. This kind of weight might have been too much for him.
結構重いね。カノン君が苦労するのも無理はないよ。
Don't worry about it, Kanen.
これぞ俺の見せ場さ。これでさっきの船の分はチャラだよな。
この程度のことじゃさっきの大騒ぎが帳消しになるもんかよ。カノン君にも後で教えてやるよ。バトラったら面白いんだぜ。落ちる。
As they did this, I piled up the stuff back to the wheelbarrow.
お見苦しいところをお見せして申し訳ございませんでした。
ささもう結構ですよ。言ってください。
Letting the guests who were supposed to feel welcome see such disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Cannon left.
ゴーダさんもいじめすぎよ。意地悪言わないで、あなたも手伝えばよかったんじゃない？
これは至りませんで、誠に申し訳ございませんでした。
Without even a twitch in his smile, Goda apologized elegantly.
カノン君もええところはぎょうさんあるんやで。ただ若いんかの。いろいろもったいないわ。気難しい年頃さ。そっとしといてやれよ。使用人は寡黙なくらいがちょうどいいさ。な、熊沢さん。
ルドルフ様は手厳しゅうございますこと。私ほど使用人で寡黙なものはおりませんとも。
Everyone smiled worriedly at the obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams. So she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa is. Used to be, sorry. One stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile.
そろそろ荷物を置きたいわね。ゴダさん、部屋割りはどうなってるのかしら。
昨年と同じになっております。さあ、ご案内いたします。どうぞこちらへ。
We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. This is gonna be our temporary quarters for the night. Okay. Cannon watched over a hedge as all the guests entered the guest house. Then he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizers piled up on his wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up sacks in front of him. The sacks Cannon couldn't lift himself, as if they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Cannon. As far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something that he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. But those words he muttered were so soft that they didn't reach his own ears. Cannon hung his head, slightly biting his lower lip.
Baraの庭園は記憶にあったんだけどよ。このゲストハウスっつうのは記憶にねえな。これ建てたのは最近か？
Terrarian, visitor's retreat, was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everyone called it a guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design carefully done in harmony with the garden.
正解だよ。建ったのはつい一昨年さ。それ以降は僕たちはこっちに泊めさせてもらってるんだよ。
年季の入ったボロ屋敷よりこっちの方が好評みてえだしな。私も自分の部屋をこっちに持ちたいぜ。はい、マリアも持ちたい。持ちたい。
I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd build this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came over only a few times a year.
エヴァ様、秀吉、こちらのお部屋をお使いくださいませ。ルドルフ様、キリエ様はこちらのお部屋をお使いくださいませ。
やっぱりここは綺麗で上品でいいわね。洋風って本当に素敵だわ。
ほんの2、3日なら洋風もええやろが、 ずっといて落ち着くのは断固和風や。日本人は畳の上が一番くつろげるんや。
新しい家を和風にするか洋風にするかで喧嘩してね。お父さんが和風で着工させたのを母さんまだ根に持ってよく言い合いをするんだよ。
ジョージ兄さんのところは両親仲が良くて羨ましいぜ。うちなんか冷め切ったもんさ。
Who are her parents again?
私の成績の話だけは連帯しやがる。
All the rooms seemed to be for two people. I was grateful since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with the old bastard under the pretext that we were family. Anyways, I figured those two wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around. Hee hee hee.
何気持ち悪い顔で笑ってんのよ。どうせ下世話なこと考えてるんでしょ。
いっへへへ下世話なんてとんでもない。どうぞごゆっくりお過ごしくださいませ。あ、はいててててて、言えたよクソ親父。
Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind.
バカなこと言ってんじゃねえ。俺は胃がキリキリ痛み始めてて、とてもそんな元気はわかねえぜ。今回はお前が主賓だろうが、せいぜい親父や兄貴たちに可愛がられるよ。親父の前では言葉遣いにだけ気をつけろ。あの人、本当にシャレが通じねえからな。ジェシカちゃん、我らが当主様のご機嫌は最近どうなんだ？
去年から相変わらずかな。余命3ヶ月余命3ヶ月って割には相変わらずピンピンカリカリイライラしてるって話です。
今年も相変わらず不機嫌ってわけね。お守りができるのはやっぱり源氏さんだけなの？
親方様も源氏さんにだけは心を許しておいでのようです。私たち下々では近頃はお目通りすらなかなか叶わず。
また書斎に閉じこもって怪しげな黒魔術三昧じゃねえのかな。何をやろうとてめえの趣味だから構わねえけど、匂いが立ち込める系は勘弁してほしいもんだぜ。ついでにそのまま書斎から永久に出てくんなってんだ。
年長の人にそんな言い方をするもんじゃないよ。後ろ宮家を復興させてくれた大恩人なんだから、もっと感謝しないと。
Okay.
ごめん。
After being rebucked by George, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Usharimya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course that meant all its members were a bit strange and completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of the chain was the head family. Our grandfather seemed especially strange and terrifying even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomach ache earlier, and I imagine that reflected on the honest feelings of all the adults here today. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren who could just play around and laugh without a care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fist, beating his children, even his daughters mercilessly with a wooden sword. If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative towards his kids' names? Because of that, even us grandkids had to suffer. Anyways, I can't say that I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I can recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with his sharp gaze of his. I remember the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around, you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor, who carries a little more oomph for me now.
6年前は俺も小学生だったが、 さすがに今は高校生だ。失礼のある態度なんか取ったら大変なことになるかもしれねえな。怖え怖え。
確かにこわもてだけど、そんなに硬くなるほど怖い人じゃないよ。決して理不尽なことは言ってないもん。口下手なだけでちゃんと筋は通す人だよ。
ジョージ兄さんは昔から成績優秀で一族の鏡じゃねえかよ。私たちとじゃじい様の待遇が全然違うぜ。私なんか木刀で引っ叩かれたことあるしよ。尻だぜ尻。それも乙女の生尻をよ。
ジェシカちゃんは本家の跡取り娘だもん。おじい様も特に目をかけてくれて、その厳しさは期待の気持ちの裏返しだと思わなくちゃ。
冗談じゃねえ。その跡取りってやつはジョージ兄さんに譲るよ。私が担ぐにはちょいとしんどいぜ。
I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. We're only cousins in branch families, so she probably feels a total different sort of pressure than we do.
ジェシカお姉ちゃんが重い？マリアが持ったら軽くなる？うんサンキューな。大丈夫。マリアちゃんには押し付けねえよ。この十字架は私が墓まで背負ってくよ。安心しなって。
She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we're in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future.
マリアいらっしゃい。お母さんとマリアはこの部屋よ。
バトラ君は僕と一緒にこっちの部屋だってさ。
おお、なになに、こりゃ驚いた。親たちの部屋より広めじゃないのよ。わお。
どうせいとこ同士で集まるだろうと思ってよ。大きめの部屋にするように言っておいたんだ。おお、マリアもこっちがいい。ママと一緒よりこっちがいい。おお。
そうか、マリアもこっちがいいか。よし、ここは俺とジョージ兄貴の部屋だが、特別に出入りを許可してやろう。お母さんには内緒だぞ。
内緒。
Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fist clenched tight. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor.
おいガキども、お前らはどうする？ここでいとこ同士おしゃべりでもしてるか？
It seemed they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally they would make us follow them and greet everyone together, but if that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come, and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come, so what'll we do?
もうすぐお昼や。子供はそこでくつろいでたらええ。それに表で遊べるのは下手をすると今のうちだけかもしれんしの。マリ
アも行く。
マリアはここでお留守番してなさい。いたずらをしないでおとなしく待ってるのよ。
Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her here on her own. George noticed this immediately and gave a clear reply for all us cousins.
じゃあ僕たちはお言葉に甘えて1年ぶりに積もる話もあるしね。
それがいいわ。バトラ君なんか6年分積もってるんだしね。
へいへい、お子ちゃまな俺はおとなしくお留守番してるぜ。
熊沢さん、私もこっちに残るからよ。あとは大人に任せて若者は退散してるぜ。
それがおよろしいでしょう。奥様にはそのようにお伝えいたします。
それでは皆様、お屋敷の方へご案内させていただきます。どうぞこちらへ。
他の子はともかく、ジョージは成人してるんだから連れて行った方がいいんじゃない？
そんなんでジョージだけ仲間外れはかわいそうやで。いとこ同士の交流も大事や。ほな、行ってくるで。
The adults left one by one. They left in the same formation as our trip from the harbor, with Goda leading and Kuwasawa taking up the rear. Oops. As we gathered in the room assigned to us cousins, George asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa, and who was following behind the disappearing adult, and seemed to ask her something. As soon as he finished his business, he came back.
どうしたんだよ、兄貴。
ああ、なんでもないよ。ちょっと聞きたいことがあっただけさ。
マリアにも聞いて、マリアにも聞いて。何かな。ジョージ兄さんが私に聞かなくて熊沢さんには聞くことってなあ、全然見当がつかねえぜ。
いや、誤解だよ。ジェシカちゃんが何を誤解してるのか知らないけど。
Aniki was getting pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty of something, and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me.
なあ、マリア。俺たちだけのけ者なんてねえよな。何の話か聞きてえよな。
バトラとマリアも聞きたい。バトラとマリアも聞きたい。
I fooled around while oohing together with Maria.
いや、だから大したことじゃ。
さつけ。兄貴にしちゃ嘘が下手だぜ。拍手しやがれ。マリア、お前は右脇をくすぐれ。
マリアは右脇で、バトラは左脇だ。
ちょっと。
Wait a second.
二人ともやめて。やめ。
Maria and I played around chasing George as he tried to escape rolling onto the bed. I realize high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like this, like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun.
ジョージ兄さんが熊沢さんに聞いたのはね。まあほらあれだぜ。兄さんも本家は1年ぶりだからよ。その間に辞めた使用人とか入った使用人とか、そういうのがいたら挨拶したいって、そういうことらしいぜ。
Say hi. I want to say hi too.
なんだよそれ。全然やましくねえじゃねえかよ、兄貴。違うな。マリア、騙されるな。兄貴は何か隠してるぞ。尋問再開だ。おりゃ。
やめてよ。マリアちゃんも、もうやめて。
多分掃除とか昼飯の準備とかで忙しい。大丈夫。後でちゃんと挨拶に来るぜ。ゴーダの出しゃばりの出迎えより、シャノンの出迎えの方が良かったって言うんだろ。
Oh, I know Shannon. Instead of that noisy Goda. Okay, they were talking about Shannon. I know who that is.
シャノン？思い出したぜ。そんな子もいたな。今も使用人やってんのか？元気かよ。
そういや、夏日姉さん。
1 second. That wasn't good. Sorry about that. System. Use music voices. Okay. Let's just go back. Alright, let's just continue.
最近頭痛の方はどうなんや。一時だいぶしんどそうにしとったろ。
おかげで最近はだいぶ調子がいいです。心配をしてくれてありがとう。
そうだ、これ夏日姉さんにお土産。
いつもありがとう。あなたには何かをもらってばかりね。これは紅茶？
ペパーミントとレモンバームのハーブティー。頭痛によく効くって有名なお店のブレンドなの。姉さんにも効くかなって思って。
Rosa always... Whoa, 1 second. Rosa was always, I don't even know what that word is, okay? Probably because she was the youngest of 4 and much younger than the other 3. She managed to grow up without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. Her kind words got Natsushi so soften her expression just for a moment. But it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze hardened as it was by long years of mental stress.
そういえばあなた、いつも頭痛だって言ってたわね。しっかりなさいな。ジェシカちゃん、今年は受験でしょ？人生の節目じゃない。母親のあなたがそんなじゃ頼りないわよ。
Okay, so then Jessica is the oldest son's daughter. Okay.
ごめんなさい。生まれつきの頭痛持ちなもので。
Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully. But her comments aimed at Natsushi contained Natsushi contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsushi. She frantically contained her urge to grimace and pretended to ignore Eva.
うちのバトラ君も今年は受験でしょ？ルドルフさんも少しは関心を持ったら？自分の息子のために夏日姉さんみたいに頭痛になるくらい真剣になりなさいよ。
俺が何か言えば必ず反抗するやつだぜ。じゃあなんて言うんだ。むしろ逆で遊んでていいぞっていうのか？あいつそういうのだけは素直に聞きやがるぜ。秀吉兄さんのところは受験本当にうまくいったじゃないですか。ぜひ子供操縦術の秘訣を教えてください。
そうやな。
Probably because I got him to understand why he should study.
勉強に意味があるわけやないんや。そう、勉強っちゅうのはわからんことを自分で調べて身につけるという行為の練習なんや。これができんやつは社会に出ても使い物にならん。国語算数ができろと言ってるんやない。勉強し身につけることを学べっちゅうことや。
ご立派ですわ。
That's splendid.
それが理解できればいいんだけど、今のままではとてもじゃないけど、後宮家の跡取りとしては。いいじゃないの。無理に跡取りにしなくても。女には女の幸せというものもあるんだし、それを親が押し付けちゃ悪いわよ。
予算かえば。子供の育て方は家それぞれや。押し付けがましいのはあかんで。
ごめんなさい。夏日姉さんも気を悪くしないでね。
Though the light shining in through the window was quite warm despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which is probably causing headaches for more than just Natsui. As if To sweep away the mood, Kiri brightly made a suggestion to all present.
でも本当に素敵な香りの紅茶ね。早速いただいてみましょうよ。レオポルドの紅茶なんて日本じゃ確か銀座でしか買えなかったはずよ。
キリエ姉さんはお詳しいですね。買ってきた甲斐がありました。
Kiri and Rose stood up from their seats and made as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsuri forestalled them. Okay.
お二人ともありがとう。それは後でいただきましょう。うちの者がすぐお茶を持ってきますので、どうぞおくつろぎください。
二人とも後にしろよ。ウェルカムドリンクくらいごちそうになろうぜ。
Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Giri and Rosa understood instantly and obediently returned to their seats. The initial greeting of the guests was complete, so it was time for them to be served some tea. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Natsuri bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Eva immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing that what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart piled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsuri gave her a paranoid look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong.
失礼いたします。お茶のご用意をさせていただきます。
おう、シャノンちゃん、久しぶりやの。ますますべっぴんさんになりよったな。
いえ、どうも。
おしゃべりは配膳を済ませてからになさい。お茶が冷めます。
申し訳ございません、奥様。
She apologized like a small frightened animal bumped against the serving cart and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Her comeliness made Natsuri's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more.
いいのよ、夏日姉さん。挨拶の一つくらいしたってどうってことないわよ。もう十分待たされてる分、十分お茶も冷めてるもの。
それは大丈夫です。冷めてはおりませんので。
シャノン、早く配膳を済ませなさい。
失礼しました、奥様。
Natsuri irritation was obvious by now. Jesus Christ, her face is like, I'll fucking kill you. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the comeliness of the servant, everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsuri's everyday leadership, making her lose face. As the person in charge of the Urushira head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed today of all days was surely nothing less than total humiliation.
よせよ、夏日姉さん。シャロンちゃんだって頑張ってるのに、いじめちゃかわいそうだぜ。
いじめてなんかいません。いい香りね。お茶の銘柄を聞いてもいいかしら。
後ほど調べてまいります。
Kiri was trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood. However, Shannon had embarrassed herself instead, darkening Nashi's face and the room's mood. By this point, Eva was audibly giggling. Eva's the best, Jesus Christ.
シャノンちゃん、自分で入れてるものが何かもわからないの？ダメよ。そんな怪しげなものを来客に振る舞っちゃ。こんなお茶じゃ銀のスプーンでもないと飲めないわよ。
すぐに用意を。
I'll go get one immediately.
ねえシャノンちゃん、銀のスプーンって何に使うか知ってる？ 銀じゃないとダメなのよ。
Do you know why?
いえ、
A teasing smile rose to Eva's face as she stared at Shannon setting the table. By itself, Eva's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Eva's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help.
銀は毒に触れると曇るって言われてるの。シャノンちゃんも一つお勉強ができたわね。
They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. In Nashri's eyes, this was an insult both on the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Eva's shoulder.
姉貴に銀食器なんていらねえだろ。毒舌の姉貴が一舐めしたら銀の皿だって真っ黒に曇っちまうぜ。
わしはその毒舌を毎日聞かされとるからもう毒に耐性がついてしもたわ。エヴァもわし相手には構わんが耐性のない相手にはちいと加減せんとな。
You better. Oh, okay.
あらあらひどい。
All I did was teach Shannon a bit about tea, didn't I? Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyushi's hoarse laugh and then chuckled, though not easily. Only Nashri didn't join in, but for the time being, the conversation inside the parlor could now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. As Shannon finally finished setting the tea table, and tried to leave, Kiri apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Sorry about my mouse being there. Shannon cast her eyes downwards as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she'd been bullied in some way.
気を落とさないで。姉さんは何も悪くない。
見てたのね。
そういうお役目だから。奥様もエヴァ様も地獄へ落ちろ。でも、それより卑劣なのはあいつだ。
Cannon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These people were not Shannon's fault. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, it had been Goda's mistake. After all, there was no way a show-off like Goda would give up a flashy job like bringing the tea when the guest arrived. He had ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again, so when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt that it was a cowardly one. Oh yeah, it's kind of douchey actually.
いいの。私、全然気にしていないし。
Cannon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt.
ありがとう。カノン君だけでも分かってくれたんで、ちょっと心が楽になったかな。
姉さんは心にいろいろ溜め込みすぎる。たまには自分に優しくしてあげて。
うん、ありがとうね。
Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, the head servant.
そこで何をしている？シャノン、早く厨房に戻りなさい。
あ、はい。
If you'll excuse me. Shannonly humbly, oh my god, humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Kanon appealed to Genji's silent, bearing something in his eye that he could not express in words.
どうだ何かあったか
シャノンは何も悪くないのに、あいつら。
やめてカノン君。失礼しました。すぐに仕事に戻ります。カノン君も自分の持ち場に戻って。お願い。
姉さんがそう言うなら。
何事もないならそうしなさい。
はい、失礼します。
In the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron washed over them. It was Kumasawa.
おいたわしや。あの二人がいじめられる理由は何もないのです。しかし、ゴーダさんに嫌われているのは紛れもない事実。ゴーダさんは後ろ宮本家へいらっしゃられるまで、どこかの立派なホテルにお勤めだったそうです。そこで身につけられたというお仕事ぶりは、そりゃ大したものだとは思います。ただ、ゴーダさんはここでは最も年季の短い使用人。ご自身のそれまでの積み重ねによるプライドもあられたのでしょう。彼は自分より長い年季を持ちながらも、未熟で人生経験も及ばないシャノンさんとカノン君をことあるごとにいびられるのです。
He get okay.
また気の毒なことに夏日奥様にも嫌われております。もちろん年季という意味では奥様の方が長くこの家におられます。ただこればかりは奥様にも同情しなくてはなりません。本当に親方様も罪作りな方でございます。ご自身のちょっとした気まぐれが奥様にこれほどまでの劣等感をお与えになるとは。もちろん奥様とて内心はあの二人に辛く当たる言われは何もないことを重々承知してはおります。しかしそれが理屈で分かっているからといってどうにもならないのが、ああ、ほいたわしや。私には何もできず、こうして物陰から見守ることしかできないのです。
All right. So, I think I'm gonna end the episode here. Oh, 1 second. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna be dividing up the videos as like each, not episode, but like part like this where the screen cracks and everything. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Oh my god. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next episode. All right. Bye.